And really, I was over there looking at Jordan Davis. Now, he's a phenomenal talent. He's got the long arms, and he's just a specimen. But that kid's got to get in shape. I was over there watching him after every play. He's taking his helmet off, you know, and asking for water. I'm going, dude.
I'm going, yeah. See.
He's got to get in shape. But this was right after the draft when I went over there and they were working out. So.
Welcome back in, everybody. Sports Take on this Thursday. Rob Ellis, D Gun, Barrett Brooks, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Love talking to our next guest. He joins us. You can check out all of his work, JAKIB.com. My man, there he is. Former Eagle, former Lion. We won't say some of the other teams, including some team down south that he played for. And by the way, trivia question, G, and you know this, but I'll throw this at Derek and Barrett. I'll ask them first. Do you know who the Eagles traded to get JAKIB?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
I think we got him stumped, G. I think we got him on this one, man.
Wow.
How about you, Barrett?
Let's see. Considering how old JAKIB is, I would say Whitey Tittle.
You're gonna do that? You're gonna do that to him before we even talk to him? Oh, man. Jeez. This will be G's last appearance. He's done after that.
Hey, I can take a joke. Hey, I can give them out too.
Hey, G, come firing at these guys, man. Don't bend me. Don't be afraid. But it was Wilbert Montgomery.
No kidding.
About that, huh?
Wow.
Right, G, walk me through that day when you found out because you had a really good career with the Lions, man, before you came.
Well,
here.
you know, the thing about it, you know, I was not a happy camper because in Detroit we had this guy named Russ Thomas. He was the GM, and he was ridiculous. So, you know, I'm telling you, if you don't want to pay me, get me out of here then, you know. So you know, we got traded for Wilbert. Now, you know, and Wilbert and I have a same name. My middle name is Wilbert.
Okay.
That's a little nugget, but really Wilbert, you know, in fairness, you know, he had some great, I mean, he carried the Eagles during his time, and he wasn't necessarily a big back. I mean, I was just amazed at how Wilbert was able to take the pounding he did for the Eagles and everything. But it was the kind of deal where I was ready to leave Detroit because I was tired of the dude, Russ Thomas. He didn't want to pay anybody. So I said, well, you can keep all these other dudes here, but I got to get paid. I'm sorry. I got to get paid. So I came to Philly and was here for 3 years.
Yeah, that's it's pretty cool. A little known fact there with G.
Yep.
But so G, a couple things, man, to hit you with, because we were talking draft night when everything was going down and it was crazy,
right.
You know, et cetera.
Yeah.
You kind of sit back right now and you look at what they've done as we're, you know, what are we, a month and a half from camp or whatever it is, maybe a little more than that. But, you know, and everything they've done this offseason. And how do you view kind of their stature now, where they are as a team that got into the playoffs and got beaten down pretty good by Tampa to where they are now?
Well, it's just really amazing. I mean, and you got to give Howie a lot of credit. I mean, I think Howie is a better trader than he is a drafter. And I think in the draft, you know, he kind of did that. That move with A.J. Brown, really just astonishing move.
Yeah.
For them to get a guy who is 24 years old, the quality of a wide receiver as he is, which is he creates a lot of problems for leaving him one-on-one with the guy, because I know none of the DBs, you know, some of the DBs, you know, Barrett contested this, you know, you get to know guys on the team. DBs want picks, especially corners. They're looking for interceptions. They don't want to go out there and be one-on-one with a guy like A.J. Brown, who is like a running back, strong, and you know every time you got to tackle him, you could get embarrassed. So there's a lot of pressure on DBs. But to get a receiver of the quality of A.J. Brown is really, I mean, outstanding move. And then, of course, you know, to wind up getting, you know, a corner like, you know, James Bradbury. I mean, extraordinary moves. You got to give Howie a lot of credit that he was able to secure two players. Now, you got Pro Bowl level players that you're able to acquire, which usually doesn't happen. You don't really get those guys. I mean, draft picks and young players, they're great, but you always got the question mark around them. And really, I was over there looking at Jordan Davis. He's a phenomenal talent. He's got the long arms, and he's just a specimen. But that kid's got to get in shape. I was over there watching him after every play. He's taking his helmet off, you know, and asking for water. I'm going, dude.
I'm going.
Yeah. See.
He's got to get in shape. But this was right after the draft when I went over there and they were working out. So, you know, I'll give him that he probably was celebrating, and you know, he win the first round. You're gonna go with your boys. You're gonna have a good time and everything. But now he's got to get serious. He's got to get to work, and because he's got to learn how to be a pass rusher. He really didn't rush the passer at Alabama, but he is an extraordinary athlete. You got an athlete he's got the long arms you want to see in a pass rusher. So he can reach a guy before, you know, it's kind of like boxing. You know, they always used to have they would talk about the length of the arms because
the reach. Yeah.
Reach is important. He's got the reach. He's got the quickness. He has the athleticism and everything to be a great pass rusher. But that's what he's got to do because the NFL game is about throwing the ball. You got to affect the passer. And I think he can be developed into that, but he's got to get in shape. He's got to learn to rush the passer. This is not Georgia anymore, buddy. You can't be standing at the line talking to the opposite lineman when they're throwing the ball. You basically there going like, okay, well, I'm going to take this play off because they're throwing the ball. No, dude, you got to get some pressure on that quarterback. And I think he can be taught. He sounds like a good kid. I think they could get it done. But that's what he's got. He's a development. I look at Dean. I think he's more ready to play right now. He thinks like a NFL linebacker. He's talking about, you know, the habits of an offense. You got to study an offense. What do they like to do in different situations? What did they like to do when they're backed up and it's third and long? Where do they go to the ball? Who do they look for when it's, let's say they're in the red zone and it's a big play? There's certain guys they're going to get the ball to. He talks like that. So he thinks like that. I think he's ready to play right away. So I feel good about their draft. I even like that young center that they got. He's much bigger than Jason Kelsey, but he can move. And, you know, I like the way he was talking. I mean, he's a worker. He's physical, and, you know, that line is the best part of their team. So I like what they did. I mean, really, they had a great offseason. When going into the draft, I was not happy with what Howie had done. He hadn't gotten the wide receiver. He didn't get the cornerback, but he ended up getting both. So Howie, I'm sorry.
Hey, G, let me ask you this, G. I'm glad you brought up Nakobe Dean. What do you make of how before the draft, all of a sudden it comes out that he has this pec injury, and he was rated as a first-round pick going into the draft. All of a sudden he slips all the way to the third round. Now, either 31 other teams know something the Eagles don't know, or the Eagles got it right with their medical staff checking him out. So what do you make of the way Dean went from being a high-profile pick to sliding down the board?
Well, you know, I've seen this happen before, you know, and I can't say that I definitely know what's going on, but I feel good about the fact that the Eagles feel good about him physically. They, you know, and he looked healthy over there at the practice. He's moving and everything. So he looked fine. And I think it was a case probably some people were putting out some, you know, whatever, rumors. And sometimes they get started and you don't know where they start at. But I feel good about him, but I definitely think, you know, we're going to find out. We're going to keep an eye on him, but he looked healthy. I went over there to the practice. He looked fine. He's moving good. Everything looked good to me. So I think that from what he said was the doctors looked at him and he said he knew he didn't need to get surgery. They had told him he didn't need to get any surgery. And maybe there's some miscommunication or something that happened in that way. But kid looked good over there at the practice. So I think the Eagles they wouldn't want to do that unless their doctors gave them the thumbs up. So we'll go ahead and say that the Eagles doctors were doing their job, and maybe there were some teams that didn't do their job, and maybe we're trying to, you know, trying to maneuver to get him maybe later on in that round. Who knows? But it smells, and hopefully,
right. It does. Shady. Some went down with shady. You're right.
Yeah, some ain't right. Mm-hmm. So I don't know who said what to who, but I don't think somebody was honest because the kids. He said he's fine, So we will see.
What do you make of this? These defensive selections kind of pointing towards more of a 30 front, with 3 down linemen as opposed to 4 down linemen. You think that's going to be their base, or you think 4 down is still going to be their base defense?
I think they're going to be changing it up. I don't know which way they will go. That will be the prominent part, but we're going to see more 30 front because when you look at the size that they have, they can definitely be very imposing. And, they really play a lot of, they play some of that bear. I played for Buddy Ryan, so I know about the bear defense where you got really 5 defensive linemen. You got 5 guys could go at the quarterback. See, but with a guy like Reddick, when you've got guys that are standing up, that could be linebackers or they could be pass rushers. They could play the pass or they could rush the passer. So you got guys like that are versatile. It really allows them to really give some different looks. Now I was looking at them last year when they got aggressive. They played a lot of that 5-man front, where they had they had 3 guys on the interior, where they would want to cover up the center and the 2 guards and leave the tackles out there where they kind of got them in space, where they got speed coming around the corner and they got power coming up the middle. I think they want to play that. I think that we're going to see some of that with Davis and Cox and those guys they have in the middle. And then they've got, linebackers that can roam behind them like Dean. So I think we're going to see a lot of that 30 front, and we're going to see some of that, Buddy used to play, that 46 look, where you're able to mix things up. And what this is going to allow them, they can be very aggressive. The thing about it is you need corners if you're going to do that. Because you're going to leave them man-to-man, quite a bit of the time. Yep. Now they have the people to do that. They didn't have that last year. But now when you bring Bradbury in there, now you've got 2 outstanding corners that can play man-to-man. So they can get very aggressive when they want to, and then they can drop back and play zone when they want to. It really gives Gannon a chance. He really can mix a lot of things up. I really want to see them really get after people at times, really put that pressure on them with that pass rush and be smothering. And then at times, you be more conservative. But I think he's got a chance to really mix things up. And I think it's exciting. I know everybody's been talking about the offensive side of the ball, but defensively, that's why it's so extraordinary that you have 2 players like Bradbury. Come on. What are you, Giants? You got to be out of your mind. How do you just let this guy get loose? What? That's mismanagement. And then with AJ Brown, I got to ask Tennessee, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Usually, quality players, especially at the positions they play now, because the passing game is what the NFL is about. And both of those guys, very much, they affect the passing game. And they're players that are very valuable that the Eagles were able to get 2 of them.
Two-part question on Marcus Epps. They seem to really like him. Now, I know some of that could be smoke screen, yet you almost have to say it because it looks like the one area where they are a little bit light.
Yeah.
A, do you believe them? And B, can you live with the safety setup that they have right now, considering all the other parts on the defensive side?
Well, I think that they would like to have more experience back there, but I like Epps. I like things that I thought he caught my eye a number of times last year. He's a kid that will come up and tackle, and, some guys, where you have back in the secondary, you can tell they do not want to tackle, he's not like that. He's a guy that was very aggressive, and I like the way he was making adjustments. He's smart. And so I saw promise in him. So I could understand him, really thinking and willing to give him an opportunity to really show how good he can be. Because I think I saw him stand out last year. but you would like to have a little bit more experience there, where if he doesn't pan out, or you would have more depth. But I like Epps, and I think he's going to show well, and I think he's going to get better and better as the more he plays. So I like the fact that they're going to give him a good shot, and but you can't help but be excited about what they have done, because when you add quality people that they have done, and I don't know. Maybe Howie's got some kind of a coin he carries around or something, but things sure worked out well for him. I mean, they really have worked out well for them, and now it's all about how well Jalen Hurts plays, because they've got all the pieces there. I seem like he seems like he likes the opportunity, that he doesn't run from the challenge, and he's used to being in the spotlight, so I think he can handle that. I'm excited to see what they do.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I mean, talking about that safety position, I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. It might be Marcus Epps, and I think Kayvon Wallace has a unique opportunity to even play in front of Harris. I don't think Harris is as good as these young guys, man. So I mean, it's everybody's saying Harris is a starter.
Yeah.
Don't think anything less of Kayvon Wallace, because I didn't think Anthony Harris played as well as I thought he was going to play. When he played in Minnesota. So
I would agree with that. The only thing about Kayvon Wallace is
can't stay healthy. Yeah.
I haven't heard anything from him. I mean,
yeah.
He's got to show me something, and I haven't seen anything from him. So that's the thing about him is, I've been looking for a promise from him, and just looking, but he could get an opportunity, but the thing is now in the NFL, because the way they have changed things where you don't work as much during the preseason and everything, it's almost like, you do a lot of things like during the season, meaning a guy doesn't really you don't get a chance to find out whether he can play or not until it's in the season. So it's going to be interesting to see how, young kid like Wallace, if he's able to step in the bright lights, and Philly's a tough place to debut in.
Yeah.
So if you're not sure about what you're doing, and you look shaky, you're going to hear about it. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear that you are shaky, and so some guys, they can't take the noise, so Philly's kid's got to be a tough-skinned kid. That's why I like, Jalen Hurts. That's one thing about him, is he's tough enough for Philadelphia. Look at all of the talk about him and everything. He's not, he's not frazzled by it. He's able to deal with it, and I think that's the thing that he could end up flourishing here. And the reason being is because all of the noise doesn't bother him. He can take it. And, being in Alabama and Oklahoma, where football is king in both of those places, he was ready for this.
Yeah, I don't doubt the intangible. Where would you put yourself in terms of confidence that he can take it to that next level? Would you say believer, non-believer, or are you in the wait and see line? Door number 3, if you will.
Hey, I got to be door number 3, because, even though, I like all those intangibles, really love the qualities he has. The whole thing is, can he see the field, and does he, come up where you see the marquee quarterbacks, they come up to the line, they know what you're in.
Right.
They know what you're in. You look at those top guys, and so that's what I want to see, him do that. But I really feel good about him because the kid works, man. He wants it. He's willing to work. He's not over somewhere crying about what people are saying. He's ready, and I think he can deal with all of it. So I think he's going to flourish, but he's still got to prove it to me, because, I haven't seen it on the level that you're going to need to in order to, because, after this year, he's going, what, you got to give him $40 million a year? 30?
It's decision time contract-wise. Yep.
So they're going to have to write a check. So if you're going to write a check, you're going to be sure. So I think he's got a great opportunity. He's going to be working with people he's very familiar with. he's going to be in this offense for the second year. I know he's been going into offense after offense after offense every year. It's been changing. So I feel good about it. I think that he's going to make me a believer. So I feel good about the kid. So I'm interested and anxious to see what happens, because we got a lot of good things could happen. I mean, really, this team's got a tremendous potential, and we're going to find out about Nick Sirianni too, because he's kind of on the hot seat too, because we got all these players. We want to see you do. We want to see you do a great job of running an offense. What is he going to attack from week after week? And they got that running game, but now they got all these receivers, got weapons. We want to see what you do with it.
Hey, G, how do you feel about their running back situation? Are you okay with it, or do you think they need to go out and get another proven back, a bigger type back for short yardage situations?
I could see them looking for a guy like that. They probably might have their eye on somebody already that you see whether this person's going to get released or not, because you've got enough backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield, and Miles is going to get a chance to really show himself. I don't think, regardless of how well he plays, I don't think Miles is probably going to end up re-signing here because I think the Eagles are going to continue with that running back by committee, because it's a lot less expensive, and investing in running backs doesn't prove to be a good, wise move. If you don't believe in it, ask the Giants. Use one of those top picks on a guy that gets hurt. But I could see them getting a big back. Somebody who's got some experience, but they probably will be able to look at some guys, because people will get released. Guys with some experience, but that's what they probably would like to have, a guy with some size and some experience, so that when they get in situations, late in the season, you can put somebody in there that is going to pick up the blitz, somebody that can hang on to the football. They're not going to be putting the ball on the ground. They're mistake-free, because they can lean on that line, and really that line has shown us that regardless of who you put behind him, he's gonna get yardage, because they're gonna do a good job of blocking. So they've invested in the line. I don't think they're going to invest in the backs, and I think we're going to see more of this in the NFL, which is a unique thing too, which is can you pay the quarterback and the receivers? If you look at some teams that said no, really, like Tennessee said no. And you look at Kansas City said you can play the quarterback. You can't pay the quarterback and the receivers, So it's going to be interesting to see how all that works out, because if you do have marquee players at different positions, can you pay everybody? That's going to be interesting to see how all that works out. But I don't think the Eagles are going to be paying any running backs big bucks. They're going to do it by committee, because I think that's the way Howie has seen that it's worked for them. I think that's what we're going to see here. And it's going to be interesting to see how other teams, how they put their team together, and who they decide to pay and who they decide to let walk.
That's definitely, man, because the new modern NFL, man, they're just paying these quarterbacks so much money. And now they're going with these, these wide receivers making, over $100 million. That's to me, I never thought that would be the time. Back when we played, G, the running backs were getting that type of money. Well, not as much, but they were the high selling tickets. You know what I'm saying? That and left tackles.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it's changed, and it's very interesting. But I was talking to some NFL people, and we were talking about that, and they were talking about the whole thing with the way who's being paid and the way teams are making their decisions about it, because to let a guy like AJ Brown walk, that's a decision that they've made, and they got a big time running back that they're paying too. But it's going to be interesting, because after this season, the Eagles are going to have to make a big decision.
Right.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. Gee, what do you make of a lot of turnover in the front office for what appears to be a really nice run here in terms of drafts and personnel moves, like we just talked about? there have been a lot of guys headed out the door, man. And more than just, hey, they're getting better gigs. It feels like there's a lot of shakeup there. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that you've got a situation where, people think the Eagles have good people, so they've got their eye on them. And I think that when you have guys leave out and have success, the way it is with teams, with players, where if a team is known for having quality players as a certain position, well, when those people become available, those players come available, teams will jump on them. So I think that the Eagles have gotten a reputation for having quality people. The GM that's over at Cleveland, he's doing a good job. He was here. I forget his name right offhand.
Andrew Berry.
Yeah, Andrew Berry.
Yeah.
And I remember he's here.
Andrew
But he
Berry,
was young and he was sharp. And he was here. He goes to Cleveland. They haven't played as well as they would like to and everything, but he's put together a lot of talent over there. So I think teams look at that and they see a guy like him immediately come out, and all of a sudden he's a GM and he's having success. So I think that they look at the Eagles and they say, boy, what about some of those other guys over there? So I think it makes all of them more attractive and really puts pressure on Howie, because he's, that's not his strength, evaluating talent and all that. But he's got to go out and get other people. So it definitely wasn't something good. You don't like to see that, especially before the draft, because, you've been sitting around preparing with this guy or guys, and then all of a sudden now they're on another team, and they got your information.
Yep.
They know what you're thinking about different players. And so it's not something you like, but, the Eagles they're going to have to find other people. I mean, it's tough. But if anything, it's kind of a compliment, because they're saying that we think you guys are going out getting quality people and everything, but you got to replace them. It's just part of the job. But I don't like the fact that they do it right before the draft. They need to make that illegal. I think that they need to put something in where after a certain point, you can't change teams right before the draft. I mean that's really. What say, dirty pool or whatever you want to call it. That's bad business. That's sneaky. The teams that are doing that, they're getting all the information, because you're sitting with these guys talking about this player, that player, all your evaluations. You got your whole board, and now this guy says he's going to get up and sign with one of your opponents, and he knows all the board you put together, all the evaluations you have of your players. He knows how you feel about your whole team and everything. Now, immediately, he's with the opponent. That's something that they need to change that. I think I'm gonna send a little text to Troy.
Make it happen. Come on, G, step up, make it happen, man.
I can't say I could do that, but I could say something, So
I hear you. Well, G, I know you pay attention to all the sports locally, and you were a hell of a baseball player back in your day. I got to ask you, what is happening with the Phillies, man? This has been beyond ugly. I mean, they're off today, thankfully, but this has happened pretty so far. What do you make of what's going on there?
Well, the thing is, you see certain things that they do that's just not sound baseball. Pitcher not covering first base, dude. They drill you on these things. That's fundamental, and just really a lot of bad fielding. It looks like the Phillies, like every time they get a ball hit, they don't want to even turn and see what happens, because
pitchers just looking forward. They don't want to know what's happening behind them.
You got butchers out there, just flat out. The guys are butchered. I mean, what you can't call off a ball. I mean, you guys are sitting out. That's like little league stuff, where a fly ball is hit. Call it authoritatively. Hey, I got this. The center fielder, he can take over. Well, then take over. But if he's tentative, I got it. He's not sure. Then the guy. Come on. I mean,
I got it. No.
Gee, you weren't doing that at USC, man. You were calling guys off, correct?
No, come on. You got to be assertive, and and to not see that, and you see you lose games over things like that, when they do, I mean, they got a pretty good, starting pitching. Sometimes you wonder, what's going to happen with whoever they're bringing in from the bullpen, but and then, I gotta say that Girardi, come on, man, I don't appreciate the job he's done. They just and you thought he would come over so confident, bringing the his old what he's done with the Yankees and come over there. He's really kind of been disappointing, because you haven't seen the confidence. You haven't had him come out and talk to the guys and chastise guys, get them in line, because just butcher games like that. Because I don't know, I mean, just look at how many games they've, butchered. Just dumb baseball, like you're looking at a double-A team, with the way that they play the game,
how about fielding the ball and getting in front of the ball?
Basics.
Just simple stuff,
Yeah, come on, man.
Nah, it's bad. It's bad. But G, you're good, man, and we appreciate you very much.
Always, man. Always.
Check it out. Always great information there, G. We're looking forward to talking to you again, man. Thanks for a couple minutes.
My pleasure. Hey, good
appreciate you, bro.
guys.
Hey,
be good.
Sincerely appreciate you.
Yeah, be good, G. Thanks, man. I love talking to G. Guys, G played football and baseball at USC.
Yeah.
He
Get
was
out of
a
here.
Stud athlete. Stud.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, he was. That's crazy, isn't he? Came over for Wilbert Montgomery. How about that trade?
That's a great trivia question.
Pretty amazing, right? Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. All right, so we'll come back, guys. We'll mix in a little hoops. I got some Sixer stuff for you because something broke well for them yesterday, which we'll talk about when we get back. 2:00, Zach Berman. We'll talk about the elevation of Julian Lurie, who is Jeffrey Lurie's son, and what he's going to be doing for the organization.
The heir apparent.
Yeah, the heir apparent. Will he be the successor, and when will that take place? 2:30, Joe Conklin, the man of 1,000 voices. He's going to be joining us. We've got all kinds of stuff in store. You don't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks. I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, it's time for me to let you know about the great people at Pro Action Restoration. Yeah, if you're a home or business owner, you own a property, whatever the case may be, look, the last thing you want is for you to have issues with water or smoke or fire or whatever. Worst case scenario, but guess what? Stuff happens. So you got to be prepared, and they are on call 24/7 to help you. I've been through it on a personal level, and I know they got out there quickly, promptly, took care of business, cleaned it up, and presented me with a very reasonable price. And the best part is the crew is clean, professional, you name it. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've served the tri-state area for more than 2 decades, 24 years. In fact, they've been doing it. And they will work in conjunction with your insurance company, which is a key. Again, water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, whatever you need, they can handle it. That's Pro Action Restoration. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, or you can email them at proactionrestoration.com.